Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today, we are diving deep into a story that proves the old saying, never mix family with business, especially when your family is entitled. I'm talking about my sister, Chloe. I'm a high-end architect. I design custom homes and luxury renovations. I'm good at what I do, and I charge accordingly. But in Chloe's mind, my professional expertise was simply a free resource she could exploit. This story starts with her demanding I design her dream mansion, a $2 million project, completely pro bono. When I dared to say no, she went nuclear, trying to ruin my reputation online and with potential clients. What she didn't know was that while I was helping our parents with some legal paperwork, I stumbled upon a secret that her fiancé was desperately trying to hide. A secret so catastrophic it would not only stop her wedding dead in its tracks but destroy her entire future. Get ready, because this is the tale of how I used my architectural precision to demolish my entitled sister's life plan. My entitled sister demanded I design her $2 million dream home for free, then called me a talentless hack when I refused. So I exposed her fiancé's secret debt and watched their wedding collapse. I'm an architect. Not the kind who designs strip malls, but the kind who designs custom homes. I deal with high-net-worth clients who want bespoke features, hidden rooms, indoor pools, automated everything. I typically charge a retainer and a percentage of the total construction cost. My time is expensive because my expertise is valuable. I spent 10 years earning my degree, securing my licenses, and building my reputation. My sister, Chloe, is 2 years younger than me. And she is, without question, the most entitled person I have ever met. She grew up as the golden child. I was the quiet nerd who spent all her time studying. Chloe was the social butterfly who demanded attention and got everything she wanted, usually by throwing a tantrum or using mom as a shield. Even as an adult, she always expects things for free, especially from me, because we're family. This conflict started 3 months ago when Chloe got engaged to Mark. Mark is one of those guys who always talks about hustle culture. He wears expensive suits, drives a leased luxury car, and talks about his crypto portfolio and startups constantly. He made a huge production of their engagement, hiring a photographer and staging a photo shoot on a borrowed yacht. Classic Mark. A week after the engagement, Chloe called me, skipping the small talk entirely. Hey, Sarah. So Mark and I decided we need to build our forever home. That's great, Chloe. Congratulations. Where are you thinking of building? Oh, we found this amazing lot just outside the city. It's perfect. We want a modern farmhouse vibe, 4 bedrooms, a home gym, and a media room. Mark wants a 3-car garage, obviously. She spoke quickly, like I was taking notes. Sounds like a big project. You guys have a timeline in mind? I asked, trying to sound professional. ASAP. I want to break ground before winter. Anyway, here's the thing. We need you to draw up all the plans. Like, the full construction schematics, permits, everything. You know, since you're family. I felt that familiar sinking feeling in my stomach. She was going straight for the free labor request. Chloe, that's a massive undertaking. A project that size, a custom build, is a 6-figure fee for my firm. She actually laughed. 6 figures? Sarah, don't be ridiculous. That's absurd. You don't charge family. Yes, I do. Especially for a project this large. I can offer you a discount on the standard rate, say, 20% off the total fee, but I absolutely cannot do this for free. This is my livelihood. Are you serious right now? Mark told me you would do this for free. He said your work is mostly just drawing shapes and that since you're my sister, you wouldn't charge us. That was the first red flag. Not only was Chloe demanding free labor, but Mark was actively undermining my profession. Mark is wrong, I said coldly. This project would take up nearly 6 months of my firm's time, not counting construction supervision. We have staff and bills to pay. I'll send you my standard contract with the family discount applied, but if you want the blueprints, you need to pay for them. The phone line went silent for a moment. Then, Chloe's tone changed from entitled to furious. You are unbelievable, Sarah. You make all this money, and you can't do one thing for your own sister? You're so greedy. Mark is right, you're obsessed with money. And you are obsessed with getting things for free. If Mark is so successful, he can afford to hire a professional, I shot back. She hung up on me. I figured that would be the end of it. She'd huff and puff and find some cheap, generic designer who would deliver subpar plans, but I'd be out of the drama. I was wrong. The next day, my phone started ringing off the hook. It was Mom. Sarah, what is this I hear about you refusing to help your sister with her home? She's devastated. Mom's voice was full of manufactured distress. Mom, she demanded a $150,000 service for free. I offered a massive discount, and she hung up on me. But you're her sister. Family helps family. You're making her wedding planning so stressful. Mark even called me, saying he's shocked by your lack of generosity. He said you must be jealous. Jealous of what, Mom? Of her expecting free services for her entire life? I have clients who pay my bills. She is not one of them. Dad even chimed in later that evening with a disappointed text, saying he expected better from his eldest daughter and that I was causing unnecessary tension. It was the same old routine. I was the bad guy for establishing boundaries. But then things got insidious. I started getting notifications about bad reviews popping up online. Not just on my firm's Google page, but on niche architectural sites I barely used. The reviews were always 5 stars and 100% positive until last week. Now, I was getting 1-star reviews from anonymous accounts with names like Disappointed Sibling and Talentless Hack 42. They all claimed I was unprofessional, overpriced, and incapable of delivering quality work. One specifically mentioned my lack of imagination and greedy pricing schemes. I knew it was Chloe. The real trouble started when a lucrative contract I was finalizing for a major client, the Reynolds family, suddenly went quiet. I called their assistant, who was hesitant to talk but eventually spilled the beans. They saw some concerning reviews about your firm's professional conduct. Something about overcharging for basic plans and refusing family work. That was it. Chloe wasn't just throwing a tantrum, she was actively trying to sabotage my livelihood. This wasn't just family drama anymore, it was professional assault. I felt my blood run cold. I had to clench my fists to stop them from shaking. I had spent years building my reputation, and this entitled spoiled brat was trying to tear it down because I wouldn't give her a 6-figure gift. I needed to hit back, but I couldn't just retaliate with petty insults. I needed something precise, something that would dismantle her perceived authority and entitlement and, ideally, open my parents' eyes. A few days later, Dad asked me to help him compile some paperwork related to refinancing their mortgage and reviewing their estate plan. The irony was not lost on me. While I was at their house, sorting through stacks of documents, I noticed a folder tucked away in a pile of junk mail, loan application materials, Mark and Chloe. I hesitated for about 3 seconds. Chloe and Mark were trying to close a massive construction loan for their supposed $2 million dream home. This was too perfect. I slipped the folder under my laptop. That night, I opened it. The loan application was complex, but one document jumped out at me immediately: Mark's personal financial disclosure statements. Architects are detail people, and I have a sharp eye for red flags on financial documents. It comes with the territory when dealing with huge construction budgets. Mark claimed to be worth millions, but the documents told a very different story. Not only was his listed income surprisingly low for someone launching multiple startups, but the assets section was almost entirely leveraged. He had multiple high-interest personal loans taken out in the last 2 years, some of which were secured against assets he didn't fully own yet, and one massive liability labeled private equity investment failed. This wasn't some minor debt, this was serious, multi-six-figure debt that he was actively trying to hide. He was juggling dozens of high-risk ventures to stay afloat, and the only reason he was even getting this construction loan approved was because Chloe had substantial collateral of her own, mostly savings she'd inherited from our grandmother. The dream home wasn't a solid investment, it was a desperate, leveraged attempt to look successful while being dangerously underwater. If any one of his ventures failed, the entire house and Chloe's inheritance would go up in smoke. I realized the truth. Mark wasn't the successful entrepreneur he pretended to be, he was a desperate gambler. And Chloe wasn't demanding a free house design because she was cheap, she was demanding it because they probably couldn't actually afford it, but she was too deep in her fantasy to admit it. I immediately called my attorney, who also handles business law for my firm. I explained the situation vaguely, a professional dispute with a family member who was trying to commit financial fraud, and asked what legal recourse I had. He advised me that I couldn't officially use the documents since they weren't mine, but as a professional, I had a duty to warn people about potential financial harm if I had clear evidence of misconduct. Crucially, if the Reynolds family, my major client, was related to any of Mark's potential investors, I would be professionally obligated to speak up. I spent the next 3 days meticulously documenting every piece of evidence. I compiled a clean, bulleted list of Mark's undisclosed liabilities, cross-referenced the failed investments with public records, and noted the specific clauses in the construction loan application that would trigger immediate default if his personal finances worsened. The wedding was scheduled for next month. The clock was ticking. I decided the best way to leverage this information was to target the person who mattered most to Chloe, Mark. I called Chloe and told her I needed to talk to her and Mark urgently, in person. She was immediately suspicious. "Did you finally come to your senses about the blueprints?" she sneered. "No," I said calmly. "I came to my senses about Mark. And I think you and your fiancé need to see what I found." We met at a public coffee shop the next afternoon. Mark showed up looking smug, like he was expecting me to apologize for being greedy. "Look, Sarah, let's be mature about this," Mark began, sitting down heavily. "Your sister deserves the best. Just do the plans for free, and we forget about these nasty reviews, okay? The reviews you and Chloe fabricated to ruin my business?" I asked sweetly. Chloe's eyes widened. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Save it," I said, sliding an elegant, leather-bound portfolio across the table. It looked like architectural blueprints, but inside were the financial reports. "This is my Mother's Day gift to you, Chloe. Early, but extremely important." Mark looked confused. Chloe opened the portfolio and saw the first page, a chart titled Mark's Undisclosed Liabilities and Risk Assessment. Mark immediately snatched the folder from her hands. His face went white as he read the summary page. "Where did you get this?" he hissed, crumpling the paper slightly. "From a stack of documents you foolishly left at my parents' house during their refinance meeting. You didn't realize my firm has a dedicated financial consultant for large projects, did you?" They flagged a few things that looked off, Mark. I leaned forward, my voice low and cutting. "Let's be clear. Your net worth isn't 7 figures, it's barely holding above zero. You have multiple high-interest personal debts, and the majority of your assets are leveraged against a construction loan that will swallow up every cent of Chloe's grandmother's inheritance if your private equity failures hit the fan. The dream home isn't an asset, Mark. It's a very large, very expensive house of cards, and you've dragged my sister right into the center of it." Chloe was staring at Mark, her mouth slightly open. "What is she talking about, Mark? Failed investments? What failed investments?" Mark was stammering, his face red and sweating. "It's just business, honey. Every entrepreneur has risks." "She's exaggerating." "Am I?" I asked, looking directly at Chloe. "I'm an architect. I specialize in structure. This isn't a sustainable financial structure, Chloe. You are marrying a man who is leveraging your future inheritance to fund his next desperate gamble. I pointed to a specific bullet point. Your crypto portfolio is actually $150,000 in defaulted personal loans taken out in your name, which you didn't disclose to Chloe. Chloe finally found her voice, high-pitched and frantic. Is that true, Mark? Did you take out loans in my name? Mark looked desperate. It was just a temporary bridge loan, baby. I was going to pay it back before you noticed. Chloe slapped the table so hard the cups rattled. You lied to me. You told me you were a millionaire. The house, the wedding, the cars, it's all based on debt? Mark tried to grab her hand, but she pulled away. Chloe, don't listen to her. She's doing this because she's jealous. She's a talentless hack who is bitter about our success. I smiled, a slow, cold smile that felt incredibly satisfying. Speaking of talentless hacks, I said, pulling out a laminated sheet showing screenshots of the fake reviews she had left me. I believe this is yours, Chloe. Funny how you found time to write 4 separate, scathing reviews about my firm, but couldn't write a single thank you note for all the times I helped you in college. Now, let's talk terms. I looked at both of them, my demeanor utterly professional. The wedding is off, or at least postponed until you sort out your financial situation and Mark addresses his undisclosed liabilities. If you proceed with the wedding, I will anonymously send this complete financial dossier to your parents, your grandmother's estate attorney, and the local business reporter who loves exposing local fraudulent activity. And yes, I will be sure to include the screenshots of your libelous reviews. Chloe was sobbing openly, furious tears streaming down her face. You wouldn't. You're my sister. You tried to destroy my career because I wouldn't give you a free house, I countered. What did you think would happen? You chose Mark's approval and your entitlement over my reputation. Now you choose. Mark, realizing he was trapped, tried one last desperate move. I'll pay for the blueprints, Sarah. I'll pay whatever you want. Just keep quiet. It's too late for that, Mark. Now, I want 3 things. 1, the wedding is called off. 2, you both immediately remove all malicious reviews about my firm and issue a public retraction. I'll draft it for you. And 3, I want an official, written apology from both of you to be read aloud to my parents. If you fail to meet those terms by Friday, the dossier goes public. Mark was defeated. Chloe was still too distraught to speak, but her angry stare was enough confirmation. They agreed, knowing they had no other choice. The aftermath was exactly as devastating as I'd planned. The wedding was postponed indefinitely, citing unexpected family circumstances, my requested wording. The reviews vanished, and a carefully worded, vague retraction appeared on the sites where they'd been posted. Most satisfyingly, I received a humiliating, typed apology from both of them, delivered via email. I made sure to forward it to my parents. Mom was initially furious about the postponement and tried to blame me for interfering. But Dad, after reading the financial disclosure summary I sent him, without the loan documents, just the public financial data, finally put 2 and 2 together. He wasn't mad at me anymore. He was absolutely livid at Mark and horrified that Chloe was about to make such a disastrous mistake. He and Mom hired a forensic accountant and a lawyer to audit Mark's holdings and, more importantly, secure Chloe's grandmother's trust funds. The fallout was immense. Mark was exposed as a fake, lost his leased car, and had to move back in with his own parents. Chloe lost her lavish wedding, her dream home, and her successful fiancé. For the first time, my parents didn't treat me like the villain. In fact, Dad called me and thanked me for saving his daughter from financial ruin, even if she couldn't see it yet. As for Chloe, she hasn't spoken to me since, but the silence is the best gift I could ask for. My business is thriving, and the Reynolds family contract closed last week. Sometimes, the most beautiful structures you build are the ones you build on solid ground, and the most satisfying demolitions are those of entitlement and deceit. What a masterful display of precision and revenge. Sarah didn't just win, she delivered a lesson in consequences that her sister will never forget. She saved her reputation and potentially saved her sister from a lifetime of financial disaster, even if Chloe doesn't see it that way yet. So, I want to know what you think. Was Sarah's revenge justified, or did she go too far by exposing the fiancé's debt? Was this the only way to get her parents to finally see the truth about Chloe? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this intense story, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss another video. See you in the next one.